Hello you guys, welcome to a new weekly vlog. So I am at the library right now. I'm about to go pick up some of my holds and I'm going to take you guys with me because we love content and we love vlogging in front of people as they walk by. We don't care, okay? People need to mind their business. Alright, I'm back. I got volumes 1 and 3, because 2 is still in transit, of The Girl from the Other Side. This is a manga that I think is like a commentary on like immigration. And then I picked up The Wicked King by Holly Black, because I am going to be doing a reading vlog for this month. Hello guys, it has been a little bit since I've updated. Not gonna lie, I have not been reading. I have been downloading Sims custom content all day and I have zero regrets. But something probably more exciting to you guys is, first, I got a package, and 2, why is me getting a package exciting for you? I don't know, it's exciting for me whenever I watch vlogs and people come with packages, because I am such a capitalist and watching people get things kind of gives me the same high or similar highs of getting things myself, and that just goes to show how materialistic our culture is. But you know what? I'm not doing anything to not contribute to it either, so I have never been and never will be a minimalist bitch, that's for damn sure. But another really exciting thing about today is I am going to the Renee Adier signing here in Fresno. It's gonna be her and Saba Tahir, who I have already met previously, and I will link that vlog up above. That was actually my first book signing ever, and so I'm gonna get the beautiful. I'm really excited to hear her talk about it, because usually whenever I hear authors talk about books, 1, it makes me more excited to read the book, and 2, getting the author's insights into the book and like why they wrote it that way and their process of it usually allows me to not necessarily rate the book higher, but I go into a book knowing the frame of mind that the author had going into writing it. I don't know if that makes sense, but regardless, I'm just really excited. Now, let's open this package. I already know what it is, because again, Sal got me this book and he did not have to, but he did it anyways, and it's a really exciting, oh my god, it's so, this cover is literally one of the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever seen in my life. Even me including when I look in the mirror. The Deathless Girls by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. If you guys don't know, this is the October pick for the Cover Whores book club, which I host with Carly from Carly's Book, and it is just a book club centered around reading covers, or reading books with gorgeous covers, and this is our October pick. Like, the end pages are stunning. Look at it naked. Oh, I could cry. Look at that Sabine. I truly cannot. And like, it's so reflective and gilded. This is my favorite kind of design type if we're talking materials. I love a soft matte with reflective metallic elements to it. Like, those are my absolute favorite covers. Oh, this is so stunning. It's so stunning. I'm so excited to read this. This is a retelling of Dracula's Wives, and I'm hoping there's some lesbians in here. Based on the synopsis, it kind of sounds gay. So I'm really hoping it's gay, and we're gonna find out. This reading vlog, I have decided, is going to be dedicated to vampires. I know I haven't really talked about much of my reading this week yet, but that is going to be the plan. I've decided, because this is vampires, The Beautiful is vampires, and I also have a NetGalley art that is also vampires. So, you've heard it here, folks. I'm reading some vampires this week, and so enjoy that content. Now on to the book signing.
Tell me, like, why did you decide on New Orleans as a setting?
Well, for me, anytime I write a book, I love to make the setting a character of its own. I love to have that, it's almost like the backdrop or the canvas upon which, like for me, I paint with words. And so settings come alive for me, and I did this a lot with Wrath in the Dawn, and when I was trying to create the setting of ancient Persia, fantasy ancient Persia, and I did it with Flame in the Mist and its sequel, Smoke in the Sun, when I was trying to depict a fantasy feudal Japan. And for me, I have always loved New Orleans, ever since I first fell in love with Anne Rice's vampires when I was a teenager. It's just had this like aura of magic and mysticism to it. It really lends itself to myth. And I've visited it now 12 times and was able to, this is like the best part of this job, I'm able to go to these amazing places and call it research and eat everything and call it research. It's my favorite. And New Orleans is a place unlike any other. I feel like you will never go to a place in the United States that has that kind of feel. And I also feel like I went there, I'm a child of mixed race. And the first time I went there years ago, I couldn't quite pinpoint why I immediately felt comfortable there until I was speaking to somebody who was from there. And they were like, well, this has been a majority minority city for such a long time. And then it suddenly clicked to me. I had never had to explain myself here. As a child of mixed race, I was often asked these questions. And again, it's not with malice, but what are you? Where are you from? And I'm like, I'm a human, I'm from planet Earth. Because there's a little bit of not a little bit, like a dehumanizing element to that. I never had to explain myself in a city like New Orleans. The food, the people, the music, the culture, and it's got this really sort of rich, sordid history because it was a port city in the slave trade. It's so many people going through this city. Often against their will, and what happened is you have a lot of mixing of different races and cultures. I felt very at home there.
Obviously, this book is about vampires, and I want to talk about like the first vampire books that we read. So I'm curious, like, what was the first vampire book that you read that inspired this? Because it's the lore in it, I feel like, is so rich, but it's not in your face. It kind of builds over time, and you start to see what she's getting you into, and you're like, ooh. So I really love that. Like, what was the book that inspired you to get into vampires?
When I was 12 years old, my math teacher kept yelling at me because I would prop up my textbook on my desk, which is such a stupid way to hide what you're really doing, because no one reads a textbook with it propped up in front of them, and I would stick the book I was reading in its place because books were so much better than math class. I kept getting in trouble for it, and finally after the fourth or fifth time that this happened, she was like, okay, I'm gonna need to talk to your parents. So I have this really overactive conscience. It feeds my anxiety. The rest of the day was shot. I got home and my dad's like, I need to talk to you. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna take away my books. This is gonna be horrible. So I follow my dad into his office, and he's got this sort of smirk on his face, and he has this wall of books behind his desk. He's like, I'm gonna tell you that you can read anything here if you stop reading in math class. You can take anything you want here. Actually, no, you can't. That top shelf right there, that little set, you can't read anything that's there, but everything else you can read. What a fool.
What a fool. You tell your kids the books you don't want them to read when you want them to read. I was telling my kids, I was like, I don't want you to read Gulliver's Travels. Shakespeare's bad.
Shakespeare has a lot of, problematic content in it.
I mean, which is true. It is true.
Which is true. But obviously that night, what do y'all think I did? I got a little stool. I went straight for that shelf of forbidden books, and I picked a book with a bad word in the title just because, obviously I'm going to be bad. I'm going to go all the way. And it was Anne Rice's Queen of the Damned. And I was 12. I took this book upstairs into my room, and I had this sort of wonky flashlight because my mother kept confiscating flashlights from me too because I was always reading at night and then very tired at school. So I had it underneath my covers, and it was like flickering. It didn't work well. It sometimes was shut down. I'd have to turn it back on. But it was perfect for the ambiance of this book. And this is the book that made me fall in love with writing. I'd already been a really, really avid reader, but this is the one that sort of like transported me, and it took me to another time and place. And I remember thinking to myself, like in this moment of like utter, like I was just totally hypnotized. I want to do this. I would love to be able to do something like this. And that moment was the moment I was like, I really want to write a vampire book, but I want to write it like this sort of like slow burn, hypnotic thing where not everything is given away in the first book. And you realize you're sort of like, for me, because this is the first of 4 books, for me, the best stories are the ones that almost like the very first one is like the tip of the iceberg. And you can just tell there's so much more going on the surface. I love that.
One of the things that really stuck out to me about her was her love of fashion. I don't really see that in a ton of books, like that sort of like very specific trait. So what decided to, obviously you love fashion. When I need advice, that's what I call her, my mother. So what made you decide like, okay, I want to give her this particular trait?
So honestly, when I first started drafting The Beautiful, I had no intention of making Celine such a personal character. Prior to this, all of my main characters were sort of aspirational for me. Shahrazad from The Wrath and the Dawn was the 16-year-old girl I wish I could have been. She always had a good retort, a quip at the ready. I was always that girl that had something 10 minutes too late. Like you're leaving that, and you're like, oh my god, I should have said
Or 3
that.
days if you're subtle.
And then with Moniko from Flame in the Mist and Smoke in the Sun, she was this brilliant scientist and inventor. As evinced by my performance in math class, I wasn't great in science, and I wasn't a great inventor. So these were always kind of like aspirational things that I wish I could have done. When I started writing Celine and drafting the book, it was actually right in the midst of the Kavanaugh hearings. And I just remember like having this like seething undercurrent of rage, like listening to all of this. I was like, we're not doing this again. We're not doing Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas again. And unfortunately, we were. And it's sort of like, it awakened in me something that was like dark, but it needed to come out anyway. Because, like unfortunately, we live in a society where 3 out of 5 women have suffered some form of sexual assault. I'm one of them. More women than less have experienced this. And so often we come up against people who don't believe us, or we're so afraid and we have the shame that we're carrying around. And the inciting incident in this book with Celine is that she flees her home in Paris because she murders the boy who tried to rape her. And in the 1870s, if you are caught having murdered someone, the penalty for this is hanging. And she thought, no one's going to believe me. No one was there. And unfortunately, that sentiment, sadly, hundreds of years later, still rings true. And I had so much, again, that seething undercurrent of rage. And I wanted to write this character who was trying to flee this darkness, had this shame sort of hanging over her, and wanted to rebuild a life without that shame, without this like sort of like unfortunately pivotal moment that happened in her life. And I started to write this character who was mixed race like I was, who wished she could be thinner as a teenager, who was uncertain about whether or not she was a good person. If she had made, like, because she killed somebody, she blamed herself for it, which is again very, very typical of people who are who have survived some sort of sexual assault. They take responsibility for it as if it's their fault because the society has put that on us. And when I was writing this character, it was cathartic and frightening to do this. And I'm really proud of what I've put into this character, and I'm really proud of sort of through this book embracing both the dark and light sides of me, and having Celine over the course of the book hopefully get to a place where she does the same thing.
So my favorite character in this, I love Celine. Don't get me wrong, I love Celine.
Obviously,
but,
it's me.
But yeah, it's you. But my favorite character in the book walks onto the page in his Panama hat and his saunter and is just immediately captivating, and that is Sebastian Saint Germain. He is my book boyfriend. None of you can have him. He's mine. He belongs to me.
I did the same thing with Elias.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did he come from? And what was kind of your inspiration, not just for him, as a character in the book, but for his personality, and for his journey?
With Bastian, he's a character that has always been so clear to me from the moment I started writing this book. And I don't want to give away too much, but the the growth that I want him to have as a character. Has anyone read the Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander? It's an old school fantasy series that I fell in love with as a kid, and it was probably like sort of my doorway into fantasy. And sorry, spoiler if you haven't read it, it's been out for like 35, 40 years. But the main character of this is a boy named Taran, who starts out as an assistant pig keeper, and over the course of these novels and this saga, he rises to become the High King of Prydain. And one of the things I loved so much about this book is that it's sort of, it got at the root of toxic masculinity before the idea of toxic masculinity was something we talked about in our sort of like everyday language. What does it mean to be a good man? Not just a man who like fights first or throws a punch before like asking questions, but at your core, what does it mean to be a good man? And this is a question I feel like we have to ask more and more as we look around us. You know, we're always talking about, having girls who are thoughtful, who are nurturing, who are caregivers, as if that's the sort of the natural inclination. But we know that's not always the case. You know, some women, or not every woman is born to be a mother. Not every woman is born to be a nurturer, or caregiver. Not every woman loves to cook. Similarly, like, we have to start addressing what we consider good traits in a man. And that's what I wanted to do with Bastian, because Bastian is raised in an environment of toxic masculinity. And it's something I want him to confront over this series, because he sort of accepted it as the status quo, that it's okay to have your own, like the only emotion you show be anger. But I want a character who shows sadness and joy and who shows vulnerability, because I think that that's actually really, really brave. And that's something I wanted to explore with him, beyond the fact that he's just delicious.
Yeah. He's real tasty.
Yeah. Hello. I'm looking crusty again. I got back home from the book signing, and then I played some Sims, and then I edited a video, and then I did my homework in that order. Okay, don't get it twisted. It's 2 a.m. now. Probably should go to bed because I have school in the morning. You know, choices are made, and we are gonna go back on them. So I did, before I go to bed, I do want to update you guys on the signing. So I got the Wrath and the Dawn signed. Let's show you. Ooh, she's so pretty. And then, of course, I got the beautiful, which is stunning, by the way. First of all, this map, and then, wait for it. Ooh, she is a stunning red. And then, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Oh, yep, you can. Ooh, we got a lion embossing. This gave Gryffindors a whole lot of power, let me just tell ya. And then, of course, she signed this as well. It was so awesome. I really loved hearing Renee and Saba talk. They are clearly like really good friends, and that's always a really fun experience. And like they had such good, like, I don't know, chemistry, I guess. It was really fun. I really enjoyed that signing. I am actually gonna go to my Barnes & Noble's YA book club tomorrow, because their book of the month is Servant and Dove, and one of the workers was talking to me, and she was like, you always come here, why aren't you in the YA book club? And I was just like, why you gotta call out my introverted nature like that in public right now? But then she told me like what the book was, and I was like, alright, maybe I'll come to be controversial. You know, we always love that. I'll probably bring this to school tomorrow, and I'll focus on this because I know more people are probably interested in reading this. Hello you guys, new day. I got some packages. Oh my gosh, it is so pretty. So I have been on the hunt for a copy of Dorian Gray, and I found this particular one. I am so glad I picked this one. Look at this purple, and then the gold is so reflective. I have no idea what edition this is, but it's very pretty. So this is the copy that I am going to mark up and, you know, writing and everything, and then hopefully someday I'll get the cloth bound version. If you want to get that for me, it's on my wish list. You know, not not pressuring or anything, but you know, if you want to support me and my channel, you know, that's a good way to do it. You know, one of my favorite books of all time, in case you didn't know. And one of these books were free because I believe this one I got for free because I buy from thrift books so much that I got my free book. Because if you didn't know, if you get like 100 points, you get a free book. So, yeah. And the second book I got is A Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. I knew I wanted to have this on my shelves because I liked it so much, and I definitely wanted to get this cover because the new cover is ugly as hell. And look at how pretty the spine is, and it has deckled edges, which I totally didn't know. So glad I have this. If you guys haven't heard my thoughts on this, go check out my recent video where I talk about my top 5 favorite standalone fantasies. On my way home, I managed to finish a book. It's not vampire related, so I'm kind of breaking the whole theme of this video, but you know, it happens, it's fine. I finished My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinka Braithwaite. I really liked this. I started this like at the very beginning of the year when it first came out because everybody was talking about it and I was really intrigued by it. There was the audiobook available. I was like, why not? It's like a short novella book, so I was like, it's probably a quick audiobook, which it was. I finished it all in one day and I really enjoyed it. If you guys don't know what this is about a girl and her sister is a serial killer. She has killed 3 men now at the start of the book, and the main character kind of cleans up after her sister and covers for her and all of that stuff, and it's a look into their sister dynamic and familial abuse and the effects of that and the lengths you'll go to defend your family and keep. A lot of people say that it's too short and they wish there was more. I completely disagree. I think this was a perfect story and it ended just as it should, and I don't think any more was necessary, so I definitely disagree with the majority of people. I think I'm gonna give this a 4-star. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it. I think it gave a unique take on familial relationships, and it was heartbreaking and hard to read at times, but it was still like captivating. And I liked the ending. It was really nice. I mean, I think it probably tied up a little too nicely for, you know, the story and what it really entails. But, you know, I don't mind it. Today, I am going to that book club that I talked about last time, and I'll catch you guys up on how that goes. I really don't know how that's gonna go. I just got back from the book signing and I actually got some goodies there. So as you guys know, I went to the book signing and everything, and apparently they gave Barnes & Noble like some swag and some like little goodies to give to the employees, but the manager was just like, no, I'm gonna give it to my YA book club. So I have some like little goodies. The first item is obviously the little tote bag. This side says, "We are what you read, Penguin Tea." And then on this side is a quote from The Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. So it says, "Be as swift as the wind, as silent as the forest, as fierce as fire, as unshakable as the mountain." Very Mulan-esque. Love that. Oh my gosh! It's a little drawstring bag, and it says, "The stories we tell have power." And it's from Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir, which I definitely need to read soon. I said that I wasn't gonna like really continue the series after A Torch Against the Night, but I love Saba so much that I really don't care that it's not my favorite series, you know? Oh my gosh! It's a vampire tea! Oh my gosh! Why am I so excited about this? I don't know. I have to put these on. Oh my gosh! It's candy blood? This is like the greatest thing ever. I am a child at the moment and I really don't mind. Well, let me first try it so I don't like just put it in my mouth. I already love this. I don't think this is working. I want to suck your blood. Ew. I think this is a success. I think this is a look. And I support it 100%. Ooh. I love these style bookmarks. I have one for Girls of Paper and Fire. Ooh, they're like metal. I got this one at Y'all West. This says, ooh, it's very mirrored. Ooh, hello, look at you guys. It says, so long as you fight the darkness, you stand in the light. And this is from Ember in the Ashes. I love this. Ooh. Oh my god. There's a pin in here. Oh my gosh, look at how beautiful that is. Let me see if you can focus. I love pins so much, and this is such a beautiful one. Oh, there's another pin. Oh, this is a little button pin. It says, expectations will not rule my days, and this is from Flame in the Mist. And then the last thing is this little poster for the New Orleans, like the French Quarters. Anyways, so like on to like the actual book signing. I'm gonna eat some of this more because I need more sugar. So it's a very small book club. There were only 4 other people there. I was the only one who didn't like the book. So everybody else gave it like 4, 4.5 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it, and my loud ass mouth like obviously dictates the conversation. So I was just shit talking the whole book the whole time. And then another girl came in late and sir, do you want something?
I only can. Love you.
As I was saying before I was really interrupted, girl came in and she came in late, and we were like, oh, what did you rate the book? And she was like 1.5, and me and her had a moment. We had a connection. I have read 50 pages of this, a little over 50 pages. I just got to the part where we are meeting Bastian, who is a delicious man, if I do say so myself. Sorry, babe. Renee says that he's a Leo, so of course. Really liking it so far. First of all, I don't understand the criticism about the whole this book doesn't have vampires in it until the last few pages. Like, there was a vampire in like the first 20 pages, so I really don't understand that criticism whatsoever. I mean, it's definitely like a little slow, I guess, but not really. I mean, I don't think it's slow. I'm enjoying myself a lot. Renee is really good at developing atmosphere, and I really like her writing style. It's like not too flowery, but it's still flowery enough to like make you feel like fancy while you're reading it, if that makes sense. Celine is a really interesting character so far. You can tell that she's been through some shit and she is going through a lot of guilt. She's a Gemini, by the way, which I love. Gemini and Leo relationship, that's awesome. That's iconic. I'm really anticipating really like loving this. So yeah. Look, they gave me blood. And they gave me fangs too, but I threw it in the trash.
Period. Don't stop nothing but a sentence.
Ew! If I was monetized, I would be demonetized immediately. Hi guys, the lighting is really bad right now, so just ignore that. But I went to go pick up my holds from the library, and I got the second volume in The Girl from the Other Side. I still haven't read the first one yet. And then I got Here There Are Monsters by Emma Linda Berube. And I really don't know anything about this. I just know it has dark fall, looks a little witchy aesthetic, and you know, we're in the spooky season, so I guess like her sister goes missing because it says they took my sister. I'll take her back. I haven't heard anybody talk about this, but I know it's a new release. I'm gonna give it a shot because that's kind of what I do here. Alright guys, let's talk about some vamps. I'm almost halfway done with The Beautiful, and I am really loving it, and I'm so happy I'm loving it because I got scared for a minute there. This has been hyped up all year, and then in the recent months it's been getting a little backlash, you know, and I was really scared because it was very much hyped for me. I really think that Renee really did that. I definitely don't think everybody is going to like this because it is quite slow. I hate to say slow because I personally, like, saying a book is slow, such like bad connotations to it. I personally don't care when someone says a book is slow because I know what they mean by that, and I know that it doesn't bother me that like a plot picks up immediately. I don't know if this is a trilogy or a series, like I don't know how many books are in here. You can definitely tell that like she's taking her time building up this world. For me, if you're going to write a series, and you guys know how I feel about series versus standalones, if you've been here a while, you know, like I just did a video on my favorite standalone fantasies because I'm such a slut for a standalone. I want you to finish your story in a concise way and just get it over with. But if you are going to write a series, I want you to take your time with it. I want you to just slowly build up the tension, slowly give me elements of the story and of the world, and I think Renee is doing a really great job about doing that while still keeping me invested. Like, this is definitely a very like character driven story. We spend a lot of time with Celine. Celine has murdered somebody, and she's murdered her attempted rapist, and so that's why she has moved to New Orleans. She's fled Paris because she didn't want to, obviously, you know, go to jail and get hanged. So she is grappling with the fact, like, she has a lot of guilt, and she like blames herself. She feels like she has like this darkness inside of her, and she's just kind of just coming to terms with that. And then she's getting involved in these like this like mysterious group of people, and she's just so drawn to them. But she's also a God-fearing woman, so she's trying to grapple with like the fact that can a person be good and evil at the same time. We haven't gotten a ton of supernatural people. Like, one of the chapters there's a perspective in here that is obviously a vampire, like, duh, and he's kind of killing these girls in New Orleans, and he seems to have this revenge agenda. So we get that. So we still get like the supernatural element, and then the Court of Lions, they're like these mystics. We haven't gotten like the meat of it, you know? So I understand why people would be disappointed because you definitely don't get a lot of the actual like magic in this book, at least not yet, and I'm like pretty much halfway through. So I understand why people would be disappointed to not get that, but to me it doesn't, it's necessary. Like, I wouldn't want to just have it all laid out to me, because then I wouldn't be invested, if that makes sense. I like the little breadcrumbs that she leaves you because it makes me want more. It draws me in to get more. Chapters that I mentioned with the vampire dude, oh, they are really short. They're only like 2 pages. Ooh, but they're so good. And also, the romances in here, I mean, there hasn't been like romance, but every guy has the hots for Celine, which may be a trope that people don't like, but like, she's hot. Like, she's a hot ass lady, all right? Bastien, who I've mentioned many times, who's a big hottie who speaks Spanish, and he's just he's a delicious man. And then Grimaldi, He is like the detective in here. Oh my gosh. The tensions between him and Celine. Oh, I love him. I'm loving this. I really am. I'm really loving this so much, and hopefully I can finish it today. Oh, one more thing. I totally forgot to mention that if you like the Diviners, I think you would love this so much. In the Diviners, Liva Bray sprinkles in like the historical treatment of people of color and the actual societal happenings of the time, if that makes sense. And Renee really goes in on like the racial injustices in New Orleans at this time, and it talks a lot about the rights of people of color. And like one of the things I just read about was how in New Orleans at this time, or in the South in general, there was the 1 drop rule, where if you had like 1 drop of African blood, you were pretty much just disregarded from society. And talks about how there is an Indian character in here, and he wants to be a lawyer, but he's like, they're never gonna allow me to, you know, be a lawyer or whatever. So there are like those little things sprinkled in, and I think I just love that. Bastian is giving me such Kaz Brecker vibes, and I just love him so much. The trope where the main character is talking about the love interest, and then the love interest is right behind them. I simultaneously have secondhand embarrassment, and I'm squealing because I love them so much. Oh my gosh. Your world is beautiful, Bastian. I wish I could stay. As do I. I finished this, and I filmed a whole review for it, which is why I matched the cover. What do you think? I think I did a pretty good job. I think I look hot as fuck, so I say that's a success. So, I'm not going to talk too much about this because, again, like I said, I just filmed a whole review, which you guys will see this week. But I will say I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I think this is going to be such an amazing series. This is everything the 2000s and 2010 paranormal romance genre wished it could be. Like, they walked so this could run, truly. Like, this is just has all of the similar elements of YA paranormal romance. You got the love triangle, you have the fierce, you know, character with demons inside, you have the broody, mysterious, dark love interest, you have the supernatural beings, you have all of those things wrapped up in here, but it's just done in a way that fits the market in 2019. I thought it brought so much to the table in it, where it explores the main character's struggles and her identity. It talks about the diversity and the discrimination faced by people in New Orleans at this time. It has a swoon-worthy romance. It has, honestly, a swoon-worthy love triangle. We don't get too much of the triangle part, but there's definitely those bones of it that you can see, and I loved both of the love interests so much. I loved the little pieces of the lore that Renee gave us, and I'm just so invested in this series. I'm so excited for the rest. I hate that I have to wait so long to get the sequel, but I know it's gonna be worth it. Celine, I just love her as a main character so much. She is just so strong. She basically transforms into a goddess by the end of this, and I just loved every minute of it. I want to protect her with my whole heart and soul, and I'm willing to do so. Like, square up. Like, let's go. I love Renee. I love this book. And I'm so happy that I loved it. And that's all I really have to say about it. I think I'm going to end this vlog here. I know I really didn't read much this week, and I know I had big plans for this vlog and that didn't really get fulfilled. But you know what? I did read The Beautiful, which is the book I went to a signing for. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much about this. So one of the books I read this week is, of course, The Beautiful of Renee Etier, and I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then I also finished My Sister the Serial Killer, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. So it was a really good reading week. I really hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and if you didn't, there's always next week. Bye!